What makes Raekwon Battle so good, in your opinion?
He's talented. God, God gifted him with great talent. He's has really, really long arms, 6'5", extremely athletic. He's a good shooter. He's a good scorer. A lot of scorers aren't good shooters. There's a lot of good shooters that are not good scorers. He can do both, and he plays on a team where he's allowed to be a volume shooter. So because of that, he's going to put up big numbers. But he's fearless, and um, uh, the new coach there, Coach Eilert, has done an unbelievable job of integrating him back into um, um, how they play. He's their focal point. And it also helps that they've got a veteran point guard that's played at the highest level and won at the highest level in Kirk Kriisa. So they've got a good team. You know, the uninitiated will look at their record and say, well, they're not that good. Well, that's being lazy. Do your research. They may be the most snake bit team in America. Um, Battle just got cleared, 4 games ago. Kriisa, I think, missed the first 9 games. I think that's what his penalty was, if I'm not mistaken. I think I'm right. Um, and then the other kid, Farrakhan. We've talked to some people that said they couldn't believe how good Farrakhan was. They've got a high level backcourt. Um, and you really can only scout them from their last 3 or 4 games because they've just gotten all their kids back. Like I said, they've been snake bit. And they still have their center out who is recovering from a broken wrist. So this team's been snake bit. They've got everybody back. They just took Ohio State to overtime. And then when you watch them play, the thing that jumps out is how good they are individually as players. They've got high-level talent. Um, they've got a 4-man that's the perfect glue guy in Slazinski. Does a little bit of everything. Smart, tough, can shoot it, can put it on the floor, can pass. They got the big kid. We played against him actually when he was at Connecticut, Aycoke. And then the big kid came off the bench, Sumnick, who was their best pick against Ohio State, really helped them down the stretch there. So very talented team. We'll have our hands full with this bunch.
Thank you, Chris. We go to Randy McElvoy with KPRC TV. Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, Kelvin. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Want to ask just with the holiday schedule and limited games, I assume a lot more practice around the whatever break y'all did get. But how are you guys health-wise now as you get into conference play, and how beneficial has the workout time been during this particular period leading into conference?
Well, we played Texas State on the 21st. We came back and practiced on the 26th that evening. Late afternoon. I think we were in the film room at 4. And then 27, 28, 29 played the 30th. 31st was off. We had great workouts the first and second. Anytime, there's always 3 seasons. I don't say anything different. Once you get into league play, regardless of what league you're in, I'm not saying anything different with this league versus the other league because it's, mentality-wise for us, it's the same. You have your non-conference schedule, your conference schedule, and then your tournament schedule. So now we're into conference play. There's always a lot of excitement about getting started in conference play, whether we're playing West Virginia at home or playing at Temple. The kids are excited to go. As far as health, Jaywan's been battling a knee. He's doing a lot better. Terrence is out for the year. We've had some kids this had the flu, had the cold, treatment for this, treatment for that. There's not a team in America that's not beat up after 13 games. You go through the normal routine with the injuries and stuff, but we expect J1 to be back playing on Saturday.
Thank you, Randy. We'll go to Matt Musil with KHOU TV. Matt, please go ahead. Matt, we can't hear you.
See if I can unmute myself. Got it? Hey, Kelvin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Matt.
Been so much fun to watch the guys this season again. And you touched on it with the answer to Randy's question. This is a date that U of H alums and U of H fans have been pointing to for the last couple of years. And talking with the alums, they are so fired up about the Big 12 home opener. And you guys do such a great job of getting your players ready, no matter what the situation is. But have you, as a staff, taken a moment and said, okay, guys, this is what we wanted. Here we go.
I don't think so. I have to answer it honestly. I don't think anybody on our staff's even mentioned it. We mentioned it to the team yesterday because it's a Big 12 season opener, as it is for I don't even know how many teams are in the Big 12 now. I can't keep up with the number. What is the number?
14.
14. So for 14 teams, it's the Big 12 opener. I think on the outside, it's probably something that's talked about a lot more than we do. I think that's kind of always been our secret sauce as far as getting ready for the next game, is we don't put a lot of over-the-top emphasis on anybody, really. It's the next game. It's the most important game on the schedule. I don't know that we're going to prepare for this one any different than we did Penn or Texas State. Look at how we play those games. What are we going to do? Play harder? Play defense better? We just try to play as hard as we can every game we play. I'm excited for our fans. I'm excited for the school. But for us down here in the arena that's working and getting ready to play, it's just business as usual for us.
Thank you, Matt. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Kelvin, as you begin conference, I wanted to ask you just about how the format works, and maybe it's different from past years with the tighter turnarounds with Saturday, Monday. I think you have a few Saturday, Tuesdays as well. Just does that, I don't want to say it doesn't change things, but just the going up against that type of format where you don't have big gaps or longer gaps between games, maybe as you did previously.
What's the question?
Well, no, I just want to ask, what in terms of that type of form, is that more of a grind, or going into a new league when you do that, or is that irrelevant? Is that not as big of a deal?
It's not as big a deal only because everybody has to do it. Nobody has an advantage or disadvantage there. I think the thing you hope for there, Joseph, is I think the only thing that could really impact that is an injury. You could, one of your key guys gets a sprained ankle. That means you may go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak trying to get somebody back because of an injury. Knock on wood. But it's that's the tough thing about playing in the Big 12 is when I was in the league before, we had a lot of Saturday, Monday games. We play Oklahoma State in Stillwater on Saturday afternoon. Then we'd play Texas at home on Monday, or we'd play at Texas on Saturday afternoon, and we have Marcus Pfizer and Tinsley and those guys from Iowa State coming in on Monday. But that's you're in that league, you know. But our kids, you know, we're going to play every game to the best of our ability, just like we always have.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Manav Gupta from the Cougar. Pardon me, Manav. Manav, go ahead.
Happy New Year, Coach.
Thank you, Manav. Happy New Year to you too.
Coach, you had some experience in the Big 12, 10 years at Oklahoma. Is there
12 years at Oklahoma.
Yeah, 12 years. I think 2 are in the Big 8. Is that correct?
You got me. You got me, Manu. That's very good. 2 in the Big 8, 10 in the Big 12.
Yes, sir.
I have not been corrected on that, but I stand corrected. Good job.
Is there you will be able to use that experience or anything that you learned from that time to help this team at all? Do you think that might be applicable?
No. Some of these guys weren't even born then, Manu. I remember my first year, and that's a good thing that you can remember your first year when you're as old as I am, I guess. But I remember going to Lincoln, Nebraska, Boulder, Colorado. There was no Texas schools. It was Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Missouri, Nebraska, and Colorado. Those were the 8 schools. I remember those were 7 really tough road trips. Then the next thing you know, here comes the 4 Texas schools with those 8 schools. So we actually had a Big 12. It was reciprocal with the name and the schools. And then pretty soon, like when I was in the Big 12, TCU, I think, was in the Mountain West Conference, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, there's just been, it's changed a lot, you know. I coached against Roy Williams, I think, for 9 years. In the last 3 years, it was Bill. Went through a lot of guys at Baylor, but the last 3 years, I think it was Scott. So those 2 guys are still there from when I was there, but nobody else is. You know, you just slice up and play. You know, it's kind of like being in the NCAA tournament. You know, you play UAB the first round. The next round, you play the Big Ten champs in Illinois. Next round, you played Pac-12 champs in Arizona. Then the next round, you play Villanova. You know, it's kind of like being in tournament play, but it's called the Big 12 Conference. So you just go in there and try to figure out how you're going to guard these teams and how you're going to score on them and just go play.
Thank you, Manav. We'll go to Chancellor Johnson from KPRC. Chancellor, go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, shout out to Manav for getting him right. Get Kelvin right, man. He thought he had you, so shout out to you, man. Hey, happy New Year, Kelvin.
You know, don't sleep on Big M. He's you know, that was
That's pretty good.
Much respect to Big M on that. And I like that, man. I said no, 12 years. He said no, 2 years Big 8, 10 years. And he's right. I had not put that dissected it like that, but that was a great job.
Thank you.
That was nice. Hey, happy New Year, Kelvin.
Thanks,
that point,
Chancellor.
yeah. So to that point that you kind of just answered on Manav's question. Obviously, every year, players change and coaches change within conference. But when you're in a same conference for a long time, you get a tendency to know what some programs like to do. You might have an opportunity to see a player go from his freshman year to junior year potentially, and maybe his tendencies and things like that. When you do change conferences like this, obviously I know you guys are going to prepare the way you guys prepare, but how much does things potentially change with the unfamiliarity of with maybe players not seeing a team for the first time within conference and games that really matter. And I know that you kind of see some of that in non-conference play, but how much did that change?
Yeah, I think the analogy with the NCAA tournament is apropos there. Every tournament you're seeing somebody you haven't seen. One year we played Georgia State, Ohio State, and Kentucky. That's 3 teams we had not played all year. Another year it was UAB, Illinois, Arizona. Another year it was Northern Kentucky, Auburn, Miami. So it's just like being in the tournament. We've been in the tournament enough times to get ready for the next game, and we have no familiarity with any of those teams. So I don't see any difference. And this is kind of like being in the NCAA tournament, because just about every team you play is either will be or will be a potential tournament team. And you're playing 18 NCAA tournament games. And that's a tough challenge, but we're in the league, so we're going to play the teams we play.
I have time for one more question today before Coach has a meeting. We'll go to Joseph Duarte again from the Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead, sir.
Kelvin, as you wrapped up non-conference, the value of getting JVA and an entire set of games like that, and then JoJo late with Jaywan's injury. How big was that? Just knowing what you're going into here with the start of a conference play.
No, that's a great point, Joseph, because that was our plan back in the spring when we got so many calls about kids from kids representatives that wanted to that were interested in transferring here, and some of them looked enticing. There were some names there that some of those kids are struggling where they wound up. But we made the decision to develop our guys. If you're going to be a program that is looking for the next shiny penny all the time, I don't know if you're going to have a consistent program. And then once you go down that road, it's hard to get off that road. But I still enjoy recruiting freshmen. I still enjoy watching them develop. I watched Ced Lott and Jacob McFarland, Cordell Jefferson yesterday, for instance, and just the improvement that those guys are making, and I'm excited about what they'll look like next year, and then the following year, and then the following year. But not 2 years from now, then go to the portal and get 2 more kids, because we know where our kids are. Javier needed to play. This is a big year for him. He didn't need to sit behind Chris Harris or Bryson Gresham or Reggie Chaney or Justin or Fabian. It was his turn. So the right thing to do was to play Javier and give him his opportunity. When we recruited JoJo, one of the things we pushed for was he was one of those kids that we tried to get committed before July, because we knew how good he was going to be. And that was another kid that we did not want to bring a portal kid in over him either, because he needed to play. You imagine JoJo not getting to play this year? No, I couldn't. So those 13 games, JoJo had some up and downs, probably more up and down than you realize, because we sit and watch film with him every game. And his inexperience is not over yet. He's not all of a sudden a veteran after 13 games, because when he gets to the Big 12, he's going to be playing against guys that have been playing in that league for 3 or 4 years, and they have a huge advantage over him. That'll be in January. February and March, JoJo won't be a freshman anymore, but he'll have to go through it. Same with Javier. Javier hasn't been, you could tell the first half of the Xavier game, for instance, the difference in Javier then versus now. He continues to get better. And we have an understanding of who he is and where he is, and we don't put huge expectations on those two guys. You know, that's you're not dealing with Chris Bosh and Tim Duncan here. You know, they're not pros. Will they develop into that? We'll see, but they're a long way away. But for us, it's just step by step. We have to be very patient with them, let them make their mistakes, teach them, and show them where their mistakes are coming from, and see the improvement the next game. And we've seen that, and I'm proud of both of those young men. First of all, they're just tremendous teammates. They're great kids to coach. Their attitudes and their effort every day in practice is off the charts. And when you have a tremendous attitude and you give great effort, then that allows you to be coached in basketball. If you're constantly having a coach attitude and effort, guys never improve.